Now to Decision 2022, and a big question hanging over Pennsylvania's Senate race this year. Will former President Trump back one of the candidates running? NBC 10's Lauren Mayk is joining us live from our newsroom. Lauren, this could change the race.
Yeah, Jim, it could. In an instant, we've got a big field of Republican candidates and a lot of voters who have not made up their minds. I've been talking to the candidates themselves about this and the influence President Trump is having even now.
When candidates running for Pennsylvania's open Senate seat met for a debate this winter, there was plenty of talk about opponents who skipped the debate.
They're in God knows where. They're in Connecticut or New Jersey.
But not a lot of talk about a man who could shift the balance with a few words.
Not a lot of mentions of President Trump.
No.
How big of a factor do you think he's going to be in this race?
Well, I think he is a big factor, and he might be the elephant in the room that no one wanted to acknowledge.
Former President Trump has spent recent months sending out endorsements for candidates across the country, but he has not made a pick in Pennsylvania's Senate race since the candidate he initially backed dropped out. It's not that he's forgotten about the swing state, though. The former president sought to remind voters of his popularity, sending out this poll showing him with a more favorable rating than outgoing Senator Pat Toomey. In the Republican primary, two high-profile candidates, Dave McCormick and Mehmet Oz, have been battling each other, but a Trump endorsement could change everything. Candidate and former ambassador to Denmark, Carla Sands, made it clear how she views the former president.
Have you spoken with President Trump about your candidacy, and did you ask for his endorsement?
Well, every candidate in this race would love to have President Trump's endorsement, but I never get ahead of President Trump. He is the leader of the Republican Party.
I asked Senate candidate Kathy Barnett.
What role do you think President Trump is going to play in this Senate race?
I don't know. If he's not going to endorse me, I would like for him to stay out altogether.
You think his endorsement is that powerful?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
George Bucchetto, one of the candidates on that debate stage, told me about the former president's power.
He has such an influence on so much of the party in Pennsylvania. I mean, if you go to some of these counties and everything, as I have been, I mean, there's a lot of Trump support, loyal support, deep support for Trump. And they want to hear from the candidates that they're going to be supportive of Trump if he runs in 2024.
Are you?
I don't know. I haven't made a decision yet.
A month later, we talked again.
Would you support President Trump if he ran again?
Yes, I would. Absolutely. Because
you told me
told me
not long ago you weren't sure if you would.
I never said that. I am absolutely saying we need America First policies.
So there you go. Well, a Trump endorsement is not a guarantee of winning, but it could change the dynamics of the race. It could even change the field of candidates. Former President Trump has also not endorsed in the Republican primary for governor. Live in the newsroom, I'm Lauren Mayk, NBC 10 News.